I remembered that moment, and I knew what I needed in that time, and it was just a friend and just like someone to lean on, and not someone to come down my throat of like, dude, are you knocking all the doors? Like, are you hitting the hours? Are you doing all this? Like, I just needed someone to come in and like help me realign myself.
All right, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Door-to-Door Podcast. And you probably guessed it, you're correct. We have another Canadian stud ready to share some wisdom with you. Mr. Kaleb Mann with Firefly Solar. I actually met Kaleb at SolarCon this year. Didn't know who he was. Again, I didn't know anything about like the Canadian companies or market, but ever since then, I see his name everywhere. He's almost won NKL. I think they got second place in the NKL competition. They were just absolutely throwing down. And Kaleb will be running a workshop up at Door-to-Door Con Canada about leadership, and I'm excited about it. But without further ado, Kaleb, welcome to the show. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling unstoppable. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We're excited to hear what you have to say. So for the listeners who don't know who you are, give us a little bit of a background, where you're from, how you got into door-to-door sales, and just a run through of your career to get you to where you are today.
I guess how I got into door-to-door is I had been working with my dad's company doing concrete for quite a few years. Mm-hmm. We had some issues, so I jumped over to work with another concrete contractor who ended up laying me off in like the dead beat of winter. And my friend Tim Veldman, who you had on the podcast here recently, he had been knocking doors for a couple years at this point. Okay. And I'd told him for years, like, I'll never do that. I'm never knocking on doors. I'm never doing sales. And I just had like too much of an ego against it, I guess. And I was pretty bad with money. I made good money doing concrete, but I was dead broke and I had rent coming up. So I reached out to him. I was like, hey, dude, how quick can I go and make some money? And he like showed me a paycheck, had me over, and I was like, cool, sick. Like, let's get into this. And that was for a charity organization. So knocking doors for charities in Canada. Yeah. And keep in mind, it was 2018 in December. I was 18 years old, and it's pretty cold here. I think my first day, it was -30. And then that's Celsius. And then during my first week, it was -40. Wow. And I was not good at knocking doors either. Right? Not at all. It was pretty crazy. And then I wanted to get really good. Like, I'd seen a bunch of guys in the office doing like 20 plus sales in a week. And I was sitting there just doing a couple. And what kept me in it is the manager at the time gave me an opportunity. He said, I'll give you a $100 bonus if you can do 8 sales this week. And I did it. I got my 8th sale on the Saturday. And from that point, I was like, hey, how do I get really, really, really good at this? And for 2 years in a row, after like rigorously training and getting good, I actually hit #1 in Canada throughout that charity organization. That was, wow. It was huge. Yeah. And by the time I was 19, I was pushed out to a different market, running an office, and we were outproducing the market that I came from. We were doing pretty good. And yeah, that's kind of my intro to door-to-door. Then it led into COVID shutting down all of charity. Couldn't knock charity. The organization got shut down. And so, we all knew how to knock doors. So we went and bought products to make our own cleaning products. Yeah. So we were making like disinfectants, right?
No way.
Yes. And we started cranking it like a bottle of Windex for like, and we were selling charity for $39 every single month. So we're like, dude, we could sell this cleaner for $39 if we could sell like a donation for $39 every month. So we just started cranking out basically bottles of Windex that we made for $39 on the door. Yeah, it was crazy. And that company ended up actually blowing up. I had quite a bit of disagreements with the ownership and like our, partners, because we were all kind of doing it. I decided to not go ahead with, focusing on using people's fear in order to sell these sorts of products. I wasn't really aligned during COVID and was pretty against a lot of it. So stepped away. Went back to concrete for a very, very short period of time, did a contract for my dad, and Tim hit me up again. He's like, hey, dude, I'm doing alarms. So I rolled out, did alarms. My first week, I got sent out to the middle of nowhere in Saskatchewan. Didn't know how an alarm worked. First door, I walked up to a guy. I was like, hey, how does your doorbell work? Figured out how it worked. Went to the next door, closed them, and I closed 12 and installed 12 on my first week in alarms.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, went and cranked out, pushed out, ran a market in Vancouver doing alarms, et cetera, et cetera. Now we're here in solar. So
nice. How long have you been in the solar space?
This will be three years, I believe now. 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
All right. So out of charity, homemade Windex, alarms, and solar, what's been your favorite product that you've sold so far?
Most heartfelt is charity for sure. Most fun is definitely alarms. And most impactful for me and the people around me has been solar. So I've taken different things from each individual product. Solar's definitely been the best though.
Oh, I bet, dude. It sounds like the Canadian market's like in a prime spot right now. And from what I've heard, it reminds me of the like California solar 10 years ago, where it makes sense. It's newer, right? You're not dealing with a lot of different companies. It's not like oversaturated. It doesn't have a bad rep. And the commissions are good, right? So it's I bet it's fun for you guys up there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
it was crazy. I bet. How did you manage to deal with, going back to your early days, your first couple days, you're a brand new rep on the doors, you're selling charity, you got to learn all the things, and then you're dealing with -30, -40 degrees Celsius. How, like, that alone could be such a repellent to continue on in this job, let alone what you have to learn and face as a rookie. How were those first few days for you?
They're pretty tough. I cried, actually.
You cried?
I cried, yeah. I cried for sure. I had a tough time. I remember my first sale that I got alone. I like basically told the person, I was like, yo, can you just please do this for me? Right? Like, that's how I got my very first sale. I'll always remember that woman. She was so kind and she actually did it. But how I kept going was definitely discipline. Like, I've always been a pretty disciplined person. I raced BMX at a super high level. So a, individual sport rather than a team sport. So even when other people around me have been in like negative places, I'm always used to, just dialing in and just focusing on, it doesn't matter what anyone else is kind of all about. This is me. I have to win.
I love it. That translates so well into door to door. Like, team sports are great. It's like, obviously there's the similar elements of like discipline, maintaining motivation, competition, but those individual sports, I didn't know you did BMX. I raced BMX and motocross too. That's cool. I didn't know you did that.
Cool.
When you have that one-on-one, it's just like you versus you. Essentially, sure, there's other dudes racing. It's a different element. And I'm sure that has translated very well into your sales career.
Definitely. Yeah, it's been pretty impactful, right? I've always done individual sports. I snowboarded at a pretty decent level, and I had like some small sponsorships for like park riding, and then BMX racing and stuff. So it's always individual sports, and like all the talent is just purely on you. And every time you need to accomplish something, it's purely on you. So it's the same in this industry too. It really correlates kind of hand in hand.
Totally. So are you in a leadership role with Firefly right now, or are you focusing on personal sales?
Yeah, so I'm a regional manager.
Okay.
Yeah, so teamed up with Mike Ruddy. He's a Golden Door winner out of Solar in Canada. I teamed up with him just a couple. Yeah, now a Maple Door winner. We teamed up just a few months back, actually. But yeah, I've been in management with Firefly since day one, actually.
Okay. How was that transition for you from, just focusing on personal sales? Now you're responsible for the success of multiple people, because it's a different skill set. So I'm curious to hear how that was for you and how you adjusted, and what was the biggest challenges you had to overcome.
Well, I have quite a story about this, actually, coming into Solar. Now, I don't want to dive in too deep about it because I'm going to talk a lot about it at Door-to-Door Con.
Okay.
It's going to be kind of like a comeback story, from being at the top always to allowing my ego to kill everything, and then, bringing it all back by getting boots on the ground. So,
cool.
Coming into Solar, my first year, I was, really focused on, I had a team that I brought with me. I brought quite a few guys, and we built it up pretty big. But, as soon as those overrides really started coming in the solar space, rather than, alarms or charity or, fake Windex, like all this kind of stuff, it really took a toll on my ability, it took a toll on my motivation and discipline to continue leading from the front. And, that caused a lot of turmoil with these people who had followed me for so long at a level 3, right? Because I'd always been a super high producing person. And those relationships were built off of, level 2 and level 3, and where the places I was getting them to through that. But as soon as I really let myself go in those moments of actually getting out there with everybody on those days that it's minus 40 or those days where it's plus 35, that's where I had a huge shift. And I went through a lot of pain, actually, and I lost a lot of people. And it was a dark time. And however, what I want to talk about on at D2D Con Canada is how I brought that back tenfold to a more powerful place than I ever thought it could be in. And yeah, I think I needed that pain and that fall down to really get to where I needed to be, because, like we were just talking about, since year one, I'd always been in the top of the leaderboards, and I'd never shied away from that. And as soon as it really fell down, I realized I had to take a step back and look in the mirror and see who I was becoming.
Totally. Those dark moments, whether they're in personal life or it's you go through those dark moments in your career, obviously they suck, right? It's why is this happening? Especially when things are seemingly out of your control. But I've yet to have a conversation with someone who's experienced some kind of turmoil, some hardship, and was able to look back on that and recognize that as something that had to happen, and in fact, a catalyst to propel them or teach them what they needed for the stage of life or the stage of their career that they're in today, right? It's very seldom where you go through something turbulent and it doesn't serve a purpose, if at all. I don't think it happens at all. All of it's meant for a purpose. It refines you, it teaches you, and it helps you become a better leader, a better human. And so I'm glad that in hindsight, you're able to recognize that and then use that as whatever factor you did to have a comeback, like you said. Could you imagine if whatever it is, and again, I don't want you to talk about it too much because it's going to be a big element to your speaking piece. But where do you feel like your career would be had that not happened?
Well, to be honest, I would probably be removed from the company. Probably be some low life sales manager living off of my past success in some crappy organization, talking about all the comps and the stuff that I used to win, and have a team of 5 guys and all of them suck. That's probably where I would be.
Just with the Letterman's jacket on, living, if coach would have put me back in state type of a guy. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, totally
funny.
Though. Like actually that, like, yeah, full bottom of my heart. If I kept going down that pathway and it didn't change, like that's where I'd be.
Well, I'm glad you made that change, recognized it, and you're in a good spot now. Mark your calendars and grab your tickets, because we are back on January 22nd through the 24th, 2026 in Salt Lake City, Utah. 3 days where industry legends, top CEOs, and breakthrough innovators gather to share the strategies shaping our industry. Witness the prestigious Golden Door Awards honoring the elite performers who've achieved what others only dream of. Network with over 2,800 door-to-door professionals across all industries, ranging from solar, roofing, fiber, alarms, pest control, HVAC, and beyond. Founded by Sam Taggart, this is where careers are transformed and million-dollar connections are made. Visit D2DCon.com, click the D2DCon 9 button at the top right, and secure your spot at the most important event in direct sales. Use promo code PODCAST to receive a 20% discount on your ticket purchase. That's D2DCon.com, promo code PODCAST. Now, back to the show. It seems like you're always at your organization, from what I see with Firefly, like you're always throwing down. You're always out there. You're in the field. I see your Instagram stories. You're knocking. You're getting it done. How do you balance so well being able to be a regional manager, running teams, and maintaining personal production? Because a lot of people, I feel like when you're a district manager and you're responsible for an office, it's kind of, it's expected. It's like you should have the bandwidth to do both. But as you progress in the leadership ranks, it becomes trickier, and sometimes it's like, if I put too much emphasis on my team, my personal production falls, and vice versa. How do you manage that balance so well?
Well, there's a few different things that I do. And if I may just kind of share a little bit of how it got me into the mindset that it's possible.
Of course.
So I went to D2D Con this last January for my very first time. And cool. Yeah, it was really, really impactful. And there's guys out there doing things that I never thought could even be possible, right? Mm-hmm. And there was a guy named Nick. I don't remember his last name. He's all over Instagram. I think he's awesome. I've talked to him every time I see him. But
Sparta Solar?
Yes, that guy. Yes.
Yeah, he lives here in Utah. I know who he is.
Cool. I walked up to him after the panel was done. We ended up having like a 30-minute conversation, and I told him that, I needed to get back into being like a front leading from the front and just going super hard. How do I do that when I have to deal with, 40 to 60 guys, another location rather than the location I'm even in, like all these sorts of things. And he told me I need an assistant. I'd never heard of a door-to-door person having an assistant, right?
Yeah.
And that was really cool. So I got home, I got an assistant immediately. Right? That was really, really, really helpful. But there was a few things that I had super unaligned in my life. And I created this kind of concept, heard things similar to it before, but I had my spiritual self was unbalanced, my mental self was unbalanced, and my physical self was unbalanced, which was unbalancing my monetary success. So I started thinking about this as like, okay, well, if I have 4 bank accounts, one being my spiritual bank account, my mental bank account, my physical bank account, then my monetary bank account shall follow, right? So as long as I fill up my spiritual, my mental, my physical, my monetary can follow. And I focus on this like really big with the team too, spend a lot of time with them. We have a ton of faith-driven people on our team as well. So we do like weekly Bible studies. We go to church together, and morning meeting. Like, well, the people who are faith-driven, we all pray together, go out to Hood, and all that good stuff. But that has been really powerful. But back to the door-to-door con, I was going through so much pain, and like I didn't know where I was going in the industry. And I had so much pain that I understood that I needed to get into the proximity of people who have been where I am right now, right? Or are in places that I want to be. So at D2D Con, I forced myself to go up and, I was like trying to follow Sam around as much as possible and like get in his face. I got in his face, and I built a pretty decent relationship with him this year. And then that he helped me really align myself spiritually, right? I went to Hawaii on a league trip, and that's where I really got aligned spiritually and everything that I needed to do. And then the second person that through the proximity that helped me a lot was Michael O'Donnell. I was literally just on the phone with him right before this. I've built an incredible relationship with Michael. I've done trainings for MOD this year, which is awesome. But what I took from him is, how can an owner of a company go out and slam a megawatt every single year? Right. And then, I'm in a place where I'm not leading from the front, and I know most regionals, or at least a very good handful of them, aren't out there leading from the front either, especially not to the degree that someone like Michael is. So I started pumping myself, getting on his call every single day, trying to talk to him as much as possible, and then make it mentally possible for me to go out and lead from the front while maintaining and managing all of this around me. Does that make sense? So I got a lot better at allocating my time rather than trying to manage my time, right? So I have allocated time for doors and sales, and during that time, my reps will reach out to my co-manager or my assistant, and I can really focus on dialing on the doors. And I've seen a huge improvement throughout the team's numbers with that. Like I just had a guy on the team do a triple maple door. Right?
What? Oh, Jake.
Yeah, Jake just did a triple maple door. And here's the kicker with it. He actually came and was transferred to me and Mike from another team, because that manager would not sell at all, right?
Really?
Yes, like he just like wouldn't sell at all. Exactly the place that I was before. Jake hadn't put in an account in months. He comes in and then slams out, I think, 78 deals in 2 months. He did a megawatt in 11 weeks.
That is, wow.
Yeah, incredible. Right. But that just shows how powerful it is to work with individuals who, are up the ladder, but are treating themselves as the bottom. Like, we're reps too. We're out there. We're in the trenches with you. We're crushing it every single day. And I think that's super important.
Totally, man. You can't really, like, so many people, it's so wrong. They want to have a team or teams that just crank, and they want to facilitate and orchestrate and live off of the overrides. I don't think I've ever seen that happen. It's never happened.
Well, here's the thing. In alarms and in charity and these things, you almost have to be out there all the time.
Totally.
Right? Because like your overrides are not as big as solar, right? Sure, you could build a team that is incredibly massive and you could probably live off of it. But if you're not out selling with the team every day, like you still need to go make money for your own self.
Exactly.
Right? The problem is when alarm managers like myself transition into solar, and you're making way more money. Like it's astronomically different. That ego and that mental that mental shift can happen where you let the money just kind of take over and you forget what you're known for, right? Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, you forget like why people follow you in the first place.
Exactly. 100%. And it's impossible to have people like Jake Montgomery underneath you, so to speak, because they're like, who are you to be calling the shots? Like, congratulations on the fact that you sold X amount 3 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, that is completely irrelevant now. Like, I want to be following someone that's doing the damn thing. And you just really can't grow a successful team unless you prioritize and allocate, like you said, time for your own personal production.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's how it is. You know, we all want to sit back and live off the money, but you can't.
You can't.
Right?
You can't. You got to go self-serve. You got to go be a leader. You can't be a whip snapper. Question for you though. You mentioned kind of the principle of like spiritual, physical, and then the monetary will follow suit. Are there any like principles similar to that you have as a leader that you live by?
I find in my life when I'm not letting Christ as a Christian truly lead me, then some people and any Christian would say this is the best leader of all time, right? So if we want to lead like the best leaders of all time, if I'm not following the lead of the best leader of all time, how can I justify leading others?
Yeah.
Right. So, daily focus on my spiritual aspect is the most important, right? And dialing in with God and, making sure that I feel good. And, we all fall short, right? But being able to, pick that back up and continue to focus. I find if I'm not focused on my spiritual self, then my mental self falls apart, right? Where I'm not like reading the books, I'm not doing the training, I'm not jumping on the calls, I'm not aligned. So yes, like for me, like it's almost like a feeling that I have all the time is like, well, if I'm not aligned spiritual, mentally, and physically, how am I supposed to lead these people outside of just, making a commission? Or how am I even going to help them make a commission if I'm not even aligned with myself? Does that kind of make sense? Right?
That makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like I'm almost like undeserving of a leadership position unless I can lead myself.
That's really cool, really powerful. Got to have something you're working towards if you expect others to work towards something as well. I really like that. I just had a question along those lines. Oh yeah, it's kind of just more leadership based, but as a regional, I'm sure there's lots of reps underneath you, and you've probably had to experience quite a few times people not doing the things that they should or not hitting the results that that they're capable of or once were hitting. Whenever you find yourself with a rep that's struggling, do you kind of have a systemized approach to how you handle that? Or what is your process or your approach to handling underperforming reps?
I had an experience with this last week on a blitz. Nice. The last 2 weeks.
Okay.
I have a high performing rep. Shout out to Adam. This guy is a stud. He's 19. He came in and he's been crushing it. And what happened and then he baggled for a whole week on a blitz. Wow. Right? Wow. That's crazy. Like I've never seen anything like that ever. Right? And I make a really big point of building a really strong relationship with everybody on my team, no matter if they're in a different location or not. I'm having one-on-ones with people all the time and, taking them out and it doesn't matter if you're a rookie or if you've been with me for years or if you're a manager. It's like, we're all treating you the exact same. Right. So anyway, with Adam, that underperformance, we generally on a blitz, if somebody doesn't hit a target in their first week, we swap them out. Right. We just automatically swap them out with somebody who's going to come in and they're going to hit that target. because of course, like paying for housing and all of these sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes when you see somebody in a place that is that dark, right, begled for a whole week,
that's gnarly.
That's gnarly. I that happened to me one time. It was I transitioned to a different market and I begled for like a whole week too. I remembered that moment, and I knew what I needed in that time, and it was just a friend and just like someone to lean on, and not someone to come down my throat of like, dude, are you knocking all the doors? Like, are you hitting the hours? Or are you doing all this? Like, I just needed someone to come in and like help me realign myself.
Yeah.
Right. And that's exactly what I went out and just focused on with him too. Is like, I was like, yo, drop me a pin. Went and hung out with him. We got him dialed in. I'm not going to talk about it, but there's a lot of things that were super unaligned in his own self that brought it to the doors. Cause you know, we all knock doors. Everybody who's listening here knocks. I hope that everybody understands the concept that turf is a direct reflection of you and the energy and everything that you give it. Right. So, you know, if you're going out to hood and you're not aligned and you're giving it crappy energy, that turf is going to give you back the same thing. And, you know, most reps will be like, oh man, this turf is garbage. This turf is whack.
Totally.
Or, oh, my manager took the better turf or whatever. But it's a time to step back and realize that you're probably unaligned. And that's why people who answer the door won't align with you. So anytime that we have a struggling rep, my process is just to go like, you know, take them out for dinner and go hang out with them, you know, figure out what's truly going on behind the scenes so that we can work on that first.
Totally.
Focus on the results later. Following week, he went out and crushed it. In one day, I closed him at like a 14 kilowatt and like a 7.5 kilowatt. And then the next day we took him out to another one, you know, guys banging out a bunch of cash, like right after we get him right back.
I love it. Yeah. So often it's, you know, you take a rep, a human that is capable of doing the job and doing it well. And when they're not, it's never sometimes it is a work issue or whatever, but the underlying issue is always something with their emotional state. It's always behind the scenes. And so many people, so many leaders just don't focus on that. They focus on, well, let's review your metrics. Are you keeping tally of every door you knock? Like, how many people are you getting in front of? Like all the work-related metrics, failing to recognize that they know what to do. The problem is stemming from something a lot deeper. So that's very wise and to spend the time with them, get to know them, and get them realigned. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, here, yeah, just kind of exactly what you're talking about is every rep that you bring in, you teach them the structure and you teach them exactly what they need to do in order to get a sale, right? And if you're good, you take them out and you help them get their first sale, or you have a manager take them out and help them get their first sale, right? The problem is, and the problem that I faced for quite a while, which downturned me into losing a lot of respect, was that I solely focused on, like, dude, are you even doing this? Are you doing that? Are you doing that? And this and that, like trying to focus on what are you doing wrong on the doors, because where my mental state was like, dude, you're supposed to be out there making me money. You're doing this wrong, right?
Ooh, yeah.
And you know, people don't want to follow someone like that. Right? Because, you know, people don't think that you care unless you really, truly show them that you care.
Totally.
Right? And you can't care about somebody unless it's genuine from the bottom of your heart. So, you know, instead of me jumping directly to, it's like, hey, how many doors did you hit? How many answers? Let's talk about all your KPIs. It's like, dude, what's going on with you and your girlfriend? Or like, what's going on with at home? And like, let's talk about life. Like, are you focused on, you know, that Bible study you told me about, are you focused on this? Like talking about the deeper things in their life rather than just the doors they have to knock. That's just our job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense. Absolutely.
Yes.
You got to genuinely care about these people, man. And it's like we talk about in training meetings and we're teaching reps, the principle of commission breath. It's like if you're just genuinely trying to get a sale, or you look at that energy bill, you see those numbers, and the first thing you think is how much money you're going to make on this sale. And that's like your main focus. It's like the customer's going to pick up on that. They're not going to want to do business with you. And it's the same thing in leadership. If your main driving focus is that override, the reps are going to know that. They're not going to feel that you're coming from a place of genuine compassion and care, a true desire to see them win and thrive and have this career change their life. And they're not going to want to go back to work. They're not going to want to they're not going to want to work with you unless you have that genuine care and compassion. It's so true.
No, it's true. Cause like, I'm sure every sales manager out there knows, at least 50% of all of the sales tactics from all the sales books and podcasts and all this stuff. And we can teach that to people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that can help them on the doors, but are we truly helping them grow as an individual outside of their monetary state and outside of their ability to sell accounts?
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's what matters to me anyway. It's like, I want people to come into my organization, help them grow to the place that they truly want to be at. And if they want to stick around, that's awesome. But if they've grown beyond our place, let's help them get to that place that they need to go to next.
That's amazing, dude. I love it. Sounds like you're a good leader. Speaking of leader and leadership and Door-to-Door Con Canada, I'm sure as a Canadian, having gone to the event here in Salt Lake and having it be just a great experience, how excited are you for it to come up to Canada?
I'm so pumped, man. I'm so pumped. It's incredible. I'm like calling all my friends in the States. I'm like, dude, come. You got to come.
Yeah.
And I'm stoked that Michael O'Donnell's coming down. He's going to come and hang out with me for a couple of days, and got Will coming out, a couple of my other friends from the States. I'm pumping this up. Something cool actually happened when you guys posted me. My best childhood friend from like elementary school, he was a part of the Mormon church. So I haven't talked to him since like grade 6, right?
Wow.
Out of nowhere, this guy hits me up. He's like, hey, dude, it's Christian. What's going on? And I was like, no way. He's like, I saw you got posted on Door-to-Door Con's page. I've been doing pest control after my mission for a couple of years here. I'm gonna come and check out Door-to-Door Con with you. And
no way.
Yeah, and we totally reconnected. It was super cool. And it's been sick to, he was struggling on the doors a little bit. So I had a couple calls with him. We got him back on track, doing some sales. He's out in a different market right now.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty cool.
He's in Canada?
No, he's in Canada. He lives in Canada, but he was just in a different market.
Sorry. Yeah. I love it, dude. Did you use your promo code and get a little discount?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. That's super cool, man. I'm glad to hear it. That's one thing that James Fraser said on our podcast this morning. He was like, I wasn't knowing what to expect about Door-to-Door Con Canada. I was thinking it'd be a little Canada convention type thing. He's like, you guys are going all out. It's going to be legit. I'm like, oh yeah, man, it's going to be a big event. And it's just going to kick things off for this event annually up there. I think I was telling people earlier, I think in the next 3 to 5 years, it'll be paralleling the size of Door-to-Door Con Salt Lake. So I'm really excited, and you guys are all killers up there and deserve the exposure. It's been fun to interview you guys, get to know all of you, get you guys on the Instagram, get your names and your production out there. So it'll be cool. Last question for you here, Kaleb. Obviously I don't want you to share everything, but in your workshop that you'll be running, and I know you've given it a lot of thought of and intention. We've talked about it. But what's kind of your goal for people that are going to be attending? What's your goal for them to leave with?
My goal is to reach out to that manager who is currently in that space that I was in, or to the new person getting into leadership, so that they don't go through those mistakes that I had to go through. Right. And, I heard John Hawkins, buddy of mine, talk about on the podcast, is like, you learning from others people's mistakes is so much more powerful. And so all the leadership here in Canada, like I just want people to learn from my mistakes, so that nobody's falling down that rabbit hole that's going to bring you nowhere.
I love it. Well, guys, if you're in sales leadership and you're going to Door-to-Door Con Canada and you've been listening to this podcast, I think you'd be silly not to attend Kaleb's workshop. I'm actually very interested. I'll be in attendance myself to hear what you have to say and to hear this story more in depth, because obviously it's been very impactful and is transformative for your career. And I just love a good comeback story. I really do. So I'm interested. But Kaleb, I'm sure the listeners got some value out of you today. If people resonated with you and want to follow you, see more of you, where can they find you online?
You can find me on Instagram at Kaleb M. Mann, and as well as Canadian Solar Pros. Those are the Canadian Instagram Solar accounts.
Awesome. Go ahead and give them a follow, guys. I follow him. He posts daily, a lot of good content. And he'll be up there. You can rub shoulders with him at Door-to-Door Con Canada. Kaleb, I appreciate your time, man. Looking forward to seeing you up there and what you have to share. If you like the podcast, you guys know what to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, your biggest takeaway from Kaleb's message today. And tune in next time and hopefully see you guys in Canada. Thanks, Kaleb.